Hello everyone. Now we are presenting applied statistics interview grind. First question is, what is a vector in mathematics? A vector is a quantity or phenomena that has two independent properties, magnitude and direction. Now my next question is, how is the vector different from a scalar? Scalars and vectors are two kinds of quantities that are used in physics and mathematics. Scalars are quantities that only have magnitude or size, while vectors have both magnitude and direction. Next question, what are the different operations that can be performed on vectors? Vector operations extension of the laws of elementary algebra to vectors. They include addition, subtraction and three types of multiplication. The sum of two vectors is the third vector presented as the diagonal of the parallelogram constructed with the two original vectors as sides. Next question, how can vectors be multiplied by a scalar? Vector operations extension of the laws of elementary algebra to vectors. They include addition, subtraction and three types of multiplication. The sum of two vectors is the third vector represented as the diagonal of the parallelogram constructed with the two original vectors as sides. What is the magnitude of a vector? Magnitude of a vector is defined as the length of the vector, as the magnitude of the vector denotes the length of the vector. It is always positive. How can the direction of a vector be determined? The direction of a vector formula is related to the slope of a line. We know that the slope of a line that passes through the origin and a point x y bracket x comma y is y upon x. Next question, what is the difference between a square matrix and a rectangular matrix? A square matrix is a matrix that contains the same number of rows and the same number of columns. If a matrix is not a square matrix, then it is known as a rectangular matrix. We can also say that the matrices which have different number of rows and columns are called rectangular matrices. What is the basis in linear algebra? Linear algebra is the study of linear combinations. It is the study of vector spaces, lines and planes and some mappings that are required to perform the linear transformations. It includes vectors, matrices and linear functions. It is the study of linear sets of equations and its transformation properties. A linear transformation is a function from one vector space to another that respects the underlying linear structure of each vector space. A linear transformation is also known as a linear operator or map. What is an eigenvector in linear algebra? Eigenvectors are the vectors non-zero. Non-zero vectors are the eigenvectors that do not change the direction when any linear transformation is applied. It changes by only a scale vector. What is the gradient in machine learning? A gradient simply measures the change in all weights with regard to the change in error. The higher the gradient, the steeper the slope, and the faster a model can learn. But if the slope is zero, the model stops learning. Next, what is propagation in machine learning? Propagation is the process of adjusting the weights of a neural network by analyzing the error rate from the previous iteration. Next question is, what is the concept of a derivative in calculus? A derivative in calculus is the rate of change of a quantity y with respect to another quantity x. It is also termed the differential coefficient of y with respect to x. Next question is, how are partial derivatives used in machine learning? So, answer of this is partial derivatives play a vital role in the area of machine learning, notably in optimization methods like gradient descent. These derivatives help us grasp how a function changes considering its input variables. What is probability theory? Probability theory is the mathematical framework that allows us to analyze chance events in a logically sound manner. Next question: what are the primary components of probability theory? The probability space associated with a random experiment is determined by three components: the outcome space, whose element is an outcome of the experiment, a collection of events F whose elements are subsets of Ohm, and a probability measure IP assigned to the elements in F. What is conditional probability and how is calculated? Conditional probability refers to the chances that some outcome A occurs given that another event B has also occurred. In probability, this is written as A given by B, or this formula P A upon B, where the probability of A depends on that of B happening. Next, what is Bayes theorem and how is it used? Bayes. The Bayes theorem is a mathematical formula for calculating conditional probability in probability and statistics. In other words, it's used to figure out how likely an event is based on its proximity to another. Bayes laws or Bayes law or Bayes rule are another names for the theorem. What is a random variable and how is it different from a regular variable? A variable is nothing but an alphabetical character which represents an unknown number. X is the variable whose value is unknown and we are trying to find its value. After evaluating x equal to 5, a random variable is different from the variable in algebra as it has whole set of values and it can take any of those randomly. Next question: what is the law of large numbers and how does this relate to probability theory? The law of large numbers in probability and statistics states that as the sample size grows, its mean gets closer to the average of the whole population. This is due to the sample being more representative of the population as the sample become larger. Thank you. Now our 21st question is what is the central limit theorem and how is it used? The central limit theorem says that the sampling distribution of the mean will always be normally distributed as long as the sample size is large enough, regardless of whether the population has a normal, Poisson, binomial or any other distribution. The sampling distribution of the mean will be normal. What is the difference between discrete and knowledge probability distributions? Discrete distributions are associated with variables variables that can only take on a specific value, while continuous distributions are associated with variables that can take on any value within a given range. What are some common measures of central tendency and how are they calculated? The central tendency can be found using the formulas of mean, median, or mode in most of the cases. As we know, mean is the average of a given data set, median is the middlemost data value, and the mode represents the most frequently occurring data value in the set. The next question or 24th question is, what is the purpose of using percentiles and quartiles in data summarization? The values that divide a rank ordered set of data into 100 equal parts are called percentiles. Percentiles are used to compare and interpret data. For example, an observation at the 50th percentile would be greater than 50% of the other observations in the set. Quartiles divide data into quarters. How do you detect and treat next question, how do you detect and treat outliers in a data set? Statistical outlier detection involves applying statistical tests or procedures to identify extreme values. Firstly, you can convert extreme value points into z-scores, then tell you how many standard deviations away they are from the mean. If a value has a high enough or low enough z-score, it can be considered an outlier. Three main methods of dealing with outliers, apart from removing them from the dataset: reducing the weights of outliers, trimming weight, changing the values of outliers, visualization, trimming, imputation, using robust estimation techniques and estimation. Next question is, or 26th question, how do you use the central limit theorem to approximate a discrete probability distribution? The central limit theorem can be applied to sums of discrete random variables as well as continuous random variables. Let's suppose x1, x2 be IID copies of a discrete random variable x with e in bracket x is equal to my e in bracket x equal to variant x equal to standard deviation 2 variance in bracket x equal to standard deviation 2. Further, suppose that the support of x is in the non-negative integers curly bracket curly bracket 0 1. Our next 27 question is, how do you test the goodness of fit of a discrete probability distribution? If you are working with discrete data that are not binary data, chances are you will need to perform a chi-square goodness of fit test to decide if your data fit a particular discrete probability distribution. These tests compare the theoretical frequencies to the frequencies of the observed values. Our next or 20th question, what is the joint probability distribution? A joint probability distribution represents a probability distribution for two or more random variables. Instead of events being labeled A and B, the condition is to use x and y as given below. This table can be used to find the probability of events. Next question is, how do you calculate the joint probability distribution? P in bracket xy belongs to A. For calculating probability distribution, joint probability distribution, P in bracket xy bracket close belongs to A equal to afxy in bracket xy dx dy. The function fxy in bracket xy is known as the joint probability density function of x and y. Example, suppose one wants to find the probability that the sum of locations x plus y is greater than 3, that is p in bracket x plus y is greater than 3. Next question or 30th question is, what is the difference between a joint probability distribution and a marginal probability distribution? Joint probability is the probability of two events occurring simultaneously. Marginal probability is the probability of an event irrespective of the outcome of another variable. Conditional probability is the probability of one event occurring in the presence of a second event. And the next question, what is the covariance of a joint probability distribution? Covariance in probability theory and statistics is a measure of the joint variability of two random variables. And 32th question is, how do you determine if two random variables are independent based on their joint probability distribution? By testing if their joint PDF pay in bracket xy is equal or not to the external product of the individual PDFs p in bracket x into p in bracket y if p in bracket xy equal to p in bracket x into p in bracket y, then they are independent. 33rd question is, fifth question, what is the relationship between the correlation coefficient and the covariance of a joint probability distribution? Covariance measures the degree to which two random variables vary together. The correlation coefficient is the standardized covariance between two random variables. The joint distribution of two random variables can be visualized with a scatter plot. What is sampling in statistics and why is it important? In statistics, a sample is important for determining relevant information about groups of people. Trying to collect data on each individual in a study can be time consuming, and samples allow you to create more manageable data sets. And 35th question is, what are the different sampling methods commonly used in statistical inference? So, answer is, non-probability sampling methods are further classified into different types such as convenience sampling, consecutive sampling, quarter sampling, judgmental sampling, and snowball sampling. So all these are methods, sampling methods, those we use by us in statistical inference. Next, 36th question is, what is the central limit theorem and why is it important in statistical inference? According to the central limit theorem, the mean of a sample of data will be closer to the mean of the overall population in question as the sample size increases, notwithstanding the actual distribution of the data. In other words, the data is accurate whether the distribution is normal or aberrant. Next question or 37th question is, what is the difference between parameter estimation hypothesis testing? Hypothesis testing. According to the central limit theorem, the mean of a sample of data will be closer to the mean of the overall population in question as the sample size increases, notwithstanding the actual distribution of the data. In other words, the data is accurate whether the distribution is normal or aberrant. इसको काटना पड़ेगा यहाँ से. Now, 38th question is, what is the p-value in hypothesis testing? The p-value is defined as the probability under the assumption of no effect or no difference, null hypothesis of obtaining a result equal to or more extreme than what was actually observed. 39th question is, what is confidence interval estimation? A confidence interval is the mean of your estimate plus and minus the variation in that estimate. This is the range of values you expect your estimate to fall between if you redo your test within a certain level of confidence.